In this video, I do want to speak about Marc Guiu and Vitor Roque. Later in the video, I'm also going to be discussing exactly what Barcelona's future attack could look like based off the information that we have been given in the past 4 to 5 weeks. And let's start with Marc Guiu. Marc Guiu, in the last 7 days, he made his Barcelona debut on October 22nd, 2023. And it only took a few seconds, like 23 seconds, for him to score his first goal against Athletic Club. Later on October 25th, he made his Champions League debut against Shakhtar. 4 days later, he did score his first and winning goal for Barcelona Athletic against Osasuna B. A couple of days after that, on December 13th, Marc Guiu scored the second goal against Antwerp. 9 days later, Barcelona were facing America during a friendly, and again, Marc Guiu scored a goal. He did all of these things before even turning 18 years old, because on January 4th, which was about 4 to 5 days ago, he just turned 18 years old. And then right after he turned 18 years old, 2 days later, Marc scored 3 goals for Juvenal A, and they beat Celta 4-1 in the round of 16 for the Copa del Rey. So he has been fundamental to almost like everything in all Barcelona levels. He has been scoring goals and he has been showing up. And after Marc scored that hat-trick, like 24 to 48 hours later, Xavi Hernandez wanted to speak about Marc Guiu, and this is what he said. I like Marc Guiu. He has a lot of things and skills. Marc's chances will not have nothing to do with the signing of Vitor Roque. Vitor Roque and Guiu are both part of our project for the present and the future. So you can see that Xavi Hernandez is planning to use these two players greatly, which is again Vitor and Marc Guiu. And I think that Barcelona are in a very interesting position, because the last time Barcelona had 2 promising strikers was probably like never. Like, really think about this. In the past 7 years, yes, we had Luis Suarez, but there was no real backup striker, a promising striker. And then we moved on towards Martin Braithwaite, and at that time we only had Martin Braithwaite. A couple of years later, we moved on to Aubameyang, and he was our only real attacker. We actually thought that at one point we were going to be having Lewandowski and Aubameyang, but Aubameyang had to leave and then Lewandowski was introduced, and again the same situation arose. Since the start of Lewandowski at Barcelona up until today, there was never a real backup option or promising striker to our main striker. Now we do have one. Now we have Vitor Roque and Lewandowski, but at this moment we have something even more special, is the fact that we have 2 young promising players outside of Lewandowski, and these are 2 young players, Marc Guiu and Vitor Roque, who bring a lot of focus as a number 9. They bring a lot of intensity, they run behind the defense, and that is something that Lewandowski does not bring on the pitch, which is why we like the fact that we have Vitor Roque and Marc Guiu, is because they can bring stuff that we have not seen in the past 2 years. And I feel like in the situation that we are going to be in the next season is going to be very similar to the one of Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland, where we do have to figure out how can we use these 2 great players and put them into the starting 11, because both of them do deserve some chances because of how many goals they do score and their potential and what they could do in the future. But I think that in order for that to happen, right, to give Vitor Roque and Marc Guiu a good amount of chances, Lewandowski is going to have to step down from his current role, or a departure is going to have to happen in the summer. So I think that ideally, if Xavi Hernandez really wants to nurture these 2 attackers and number 9s, the first option is of course going to be Vitor Roque being the main number 9 and Marc Guiu as the backup. The other alternative that Xavi Hernandez could go for is for him to become creative. For example, you can place Vitor Roque on the left wing position and Marc Guiu as a striker. And the fact that Vitor Roque could be placed out of position, it's not a bad thing. Like, we do have some bad cases when it comes to like placing players in other positions. Like, for example, Araujo as a right back is not the way to go. Koundé is the best right back that Barcelona have, and then comes Joao Cancelo. Araujo plays okay, but he is not like 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 in that position. So we do have some bad cases, but I think that we can make some good cases out of putting players out of position. For example, Phil Foden plays as a central defensive midfielder. Julian Alvarez plays as a 10 instead of a number 9. And that is what Pep Guardiola has been doing, because he has the capability to show these players what their role is going to be. Xavi Hernandez can do the exact same thing, just like how he's able to move Gavi as a central defensive midfielder or Alejandro Balde as a right back and make it become successful. So maybe we could see next season Vitor Roque play on the left wing, Marc Guiu as a center forward, Lamine Yamal as a right winger, and Pedri being the 10, being the connector, the one that organizes plays and connects all of the other attackers. That could be something really, really special. And again, this is the other alternative. The main plan is to have Vitor Roque as the true number 9 and then Marc Guiu as the backup. But in order for all of these possibilities to exist, we need to have Guiu continue to train really hard and also be with the first team in this season. And so that's what's going to lead me towards the next conversation, which is the future of Barcelona's attack, because I think that right now we have a lot of great youth players, and currently the club is signing young players because of deco, and we're also nurturing our current players. So for now, it's going to look something like this based off the information that we have been given. Our center forward options is going to be Vitor Roque, and Marc Guiu. Our right wing options is going to be Lamine Yamal and Messinho, which is also another player I do want to speak about for today. It says here, according to Roger Torreo, that Barcelona will go for Estevao William, and the decision has been made. The club has the green light to confront the deal. They're going to be signing him in whatever means. They want to make it happen. Now, you know what's so funny? Xavi Hernandez was asked about Messinho, and this is what he said. I have not seen much of him, to be honest. We are focused on other things right now. And it's funny because the fact that he doesn't know what he could get in the future makes me believe that, yes, this signing here is not green lighted by Xavi Hernandez, it's green lighted by Deco. This is a play coming from our sporting director, and he's going to bring Xavi Hernandez a profile very similar to Dembele, because Xavi Hernandez needs a player very similar to Dembele, and Estevao William is that type of player. So I think that Xavi will be very happy to have him once he figures out, oh, this is the type of player he is. Yes, we welcome this player. So Deco's doing an amazing job. He's putting the stress and the scouting job away from Xavi Hernandez. And so yes, Messinho, which is his nickname, is a Dembele type of player. He's really good at making like one move and getting away from the player. He's very pacey, and he's also a little bit more vertical than Lamine Yamal. If we look at the heat maps between Lamine Yamal and Estevao William, you can see that Estevao William is much more vertical in these areas right here. You see that bright red spot right outside the box? He does like to go into areas like that and make crosses. Lamine Yamal is not seen in positions like that as much as Estevao William. So this is very, very interesting. They are in a way very similar because you can see that both of them like going centrally, and especially Estevao William, but Estevao William has that extra arsenal and extra weapon, which is to go vertical if needed. So he is going to be costing 60 million euros. So I can understand why many of you guys are saying, you really think that Messinho is going to be one of our options on the right wing position? I really do think so, because Roger Torreo also stated this: Barcelona are determined to sign Brazilian teenage sensation Messinho, who dreams of playing for Barcelona. Barcelona would pay a small percentage up front, and the majority of the fee being paid in 2025 when he does actually arrive, because he cannot go to Barcelona until he turns 18 years old. Very similar to Vinicius Jr., very similar to Rodrigo, and also very similar to Vitor Roque and Endrick. But the decision has now been made, and that is to sign him at whatever cost. So for those of you guys who have been asking, the fact that Barcelona is going to be paying 60 million euros, you're going to have to use that player when he does arrive, because that is a huge investment. And what would that mean for the future of Lamine Yamal, who also plays in his position? And to me, in my opinion, it means nothing. I think that it only brings internal competition, and internal competition that the club does need. I know I keep bringing up Manchester City, but the reason why I do is because they are the greatest example of what Barcelona should be. So like, for example, Man City have Doku and Grealish fighting for the left wing position. They also have Julian Alvarez and Phil Foden and Kevin De Bruyne also competing for the exact same position. That's three total world-class players and top players. Oscar Bob and Bernardo Silva are also competing for the right wing position. And then you have Rico Lewis wanting Mateus Nunes' position, or Kovacic wanting Rodri's position. Barcelona need to be in a position like that, and they're on their way on doing so by signing all of these young players and players that can make a huge difference. Now, as for the left wing options, this is where I do want to like question you guys. Who do you think should be in those two positions on the left wing? What should be our options? Because right now, for me, ideally, I would like to have Ansu Fati back. Yes, I know that he's injured, but we have to remember where he was at before the injury, and he was scoring goals. He was being a protagonist to De Zerbi's Brighton, and that's very important because it does show us that Ansu Fati can score goals. He can deliver, and I expect him to come back by March, because that is what the sources have been claiming, and I expect him to return because I think that he wants it. He's working hard. I see that Ansu Fati wants to come back and score goals and prove to Barcelona that he is Barcelona material. And to me, Ansu Fati has more goals in him than any other winger that I have just named. Whether it's Estevao William, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, or any other player, Ansu Fati is the main one that I think in the future, if everything does go correctly, can end up with the most goals. So I would have Ansu Fati as one of the options on the left wing, but I just don't know who that other player could be in the future. So let me know in the comment sections down below, who do you think should be our left wing options? Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.